You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplette, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, joined this week by Chris Triplette.
Hello.
Hello. It is
Hello. Hello.
It is Fanboy Versus the Abyss.
Definitely echoing on this episode.
As it is just Triplette and I this week. Nicole has been summoned to the Hall of Justice, and Chris McFeely has been called to the Council of Chris McFeelys to try to solve what's for dinner. I don't know. But anyway, Nicole and Chris are both out, so it'll be Triplette and I bringing you comic excitement this week. So yeah, it's awesome. News? None. Not really. I think
I love it. I don't
this is
know.
really, it's that calm before the storm, you know, that we're in, because we've got Avengers versus X-Men coming up. You know, DC's,
Yeah, they keep teasing that in like everything, because I think I've seen that like on the cover of like every Marvel book
I know.
I've bought the last couple of weeks. But other than that, I mean, I don't really see much talk about it.
DC has mentioned that they're going to have some sort of event coming up, but they haven't really released any details. So, I know that Chris McFeely had mentioned earlier on Twitter this week that issue 9 of what is it, the 12, I think, is actually going to come out. So if you're reading that,
Now,
there you
remind
go.
me, was that the book that JMS was doing? Is that what it was?
Yes, I believe. Yes, it's a JMS, and it's taken about 10 years to to do. So it's coming out this week, actually. This coming week, February 1st. So
Sounds like they need to do some sort of like a collection when they release that, where like you actually get like all the previous issues because it's been so long.
God, you would hope so. I mean,
Because people probably won't even remember this series. They'll probably be like, hey, that's interesting. There's a book that I don't remember, and it's up to issue what was it, like 7 or 8 or something?
yes. So, but that's really it, I think. So, anyway, I don't know. There you go. News. What do you want? What do you want from me? I got nothing.
Hey, the Ghost Rider movie comes out in February. That's kind of
Ooh,
news,
it
but,
does.
hey, we don't have anything new about it. We just know that it's coming
We just know
out.
that it's coming out. I'm kind of excited about that. I mean, that's like I said, you know, I'm a Ghost Rider fan. I'm not hardcore, you know, I guess in any way, but it's right around my
I want to
birthday.
see it. I want to see it, but like the only issue with it is that obviously it's not going to be like one of Marvel's big movies, because it's like they're little movies. They always come out in February, and that kind of tells you that there's not a lot of faith in this.
Well, they're still putting it out under that Marvel Knights title, so that's more of their. Well, I think they did. Was it Blade is under that Marvel Knights for the film line anyway? I know Punisher is. A couple of others.
I don't remember seeing the Marvel Knights show up on any of their movies. I want to say this is the first one I've seen them show that.
I think it was on the Punisher War.
The Warzone?
Warzone. I do believe it was on that, but
I don't know.
could be wrong. So I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
So comics then we'll talk about briefly. It's gonna be a short show this week. I'm not gonna lie, because well, it's just Triplette and I. So there you go. We do want to mention a few comics that came out this week that we're not going to do complete reviews for, but we do want to mention. First up, I think we'll just mention it and not to get it out of the way, but mention it first, is the first issue of Robots in Disguise came out this week, which is the second title that's part of that ongoing split that they've done with Transformers over at IDW. This seems to be maybe the more political, I guess, in terms of setting. Um, where More than meets the eye looks to be the sort of swashbuckling, um, bad luck adventure of the crew of the Lost Light. This seems to be more of the what do you do now? You know, politics. You've got the nails, which you're not supposed to call nails.
They don't like that.
They don't
like being called nails.
Don't call them nails. You have the Decepticons and you have the Autobots, and so it's kind of it's one of those things that doesn't sound. I hate to say it, but it doesn't sound like it has legs, for one. It doesn't sound interesting. It was interesting. It was a good first issue. I mean, I think I certainly didn't expect one event that happened in it, and yet there it was. So
I'll just go on record and say it wasn't horrible.
there
you go.
You may be heading in the right direction, I think, with that description.
Heads is definitely right when you're talking about heads.
You hit the nail on the head. Yeah. So, anyway, but you know, this is Prowl and Bumblebee, plus Metal Hawk and a few others. The art's decent. I think it carries on well from.
I think the art was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I didn't like the art. I didn't like the art style as good as I liked, More Than Meets the Eye. But still, I thought, it was nice. I mean, it's a good change from what we've been getting.
Oh yeah,
in the other series.
Yeah. So good things all around. I think it's got some good promise. So we'll see. Like I said, it does seem to be the more, like I said, Star Trek-y, talky, politically, like. We're going to be arguing about, policies and diplomacy and things. So I'm a little concerned about it from that direction. But
I think it's kind of interesting that we got two Transformers books, and they're essentially both going to be in space.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got one on Cybertron, and especially since Cybertron is now sort of alive and doesn't like them. That's very interesting as well. So
that's going to be weird because, like, you know what I mean? It's just like you got one where, like, they're lost in space, and then you got this one, they're on an alien world, and it's just going to be kind of weird. I don't know how that's going to play, but I'm for it. I'll try it, but it's just kind of weird.
Well, I think it's at least a change from everything being on Earth and everything being the interacting with humans things. Now that's not even an issue. Now it's Transformers being Transformers, and we can kind of get into that world and see if it works. We've been saying for years, it's like, this is the book that everybody's wanted. It's like, we want a story about just Transformers. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Buy the book if this is what you've been asking for. If you're not reading it, you're a hypocrite.
Buy the book.
You buy the book. You buy it.
And always remember that, sorry about breaking your wall, Omega. Don't worry about it. I'll grow a new one.
Mm-hmm. That's right. He's a good sport.
Words to live by.
That's right. Just remember, in times of adversity, just grow another wall. So that came out this week. You mentioned Aquaman, I think.
Yeah, it was all right. Aquaman was good. It's just not much is going on it, but the thing about it that I noticed was, like, I want to say a couple of months ago we were talking about a bold new direction for Aquaman, where basically Aquaman was like in, like, I don't remember if we said it was a desert or like Saudi Arabia or somewhere.
We were talking about an Aquaman film, I believe. I had actually pulled that selection for the now defunct Best of Fanboy Versus show. And we were talking about a film direction, I believe. And I said what they needed to do is put Aquaman in Afghanistan. Put him really out of his element,
Yeah.
In the middle of the desert. He's trying to call flying fish from the ocean and miles away in the ocean at the coast, there's just fish piling up on the shore as they're trying to get to Aquaman. But so Jeff Johns stole my idea. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we don't quite get, like, the flying fish trying to get to him, but this is a story in which Aquaman's put in a situation where he basically lands in the middle of a desert. So yeah, I mean it's very similar to what you were talking about because it's like Aquaman's so far out of his element, he is like literally in the middle of a desert. Like he gets on the back of like a ship. It's like one of those I think it's those alien those what were those things called? You know, the things that were like under like deep sea that were eating the people. I think it's them, but they have like this like future tech ship or something, and they come after Aquaman, and Aquaman chases them, and he's like on their ship, and it crashes in the middle of the desert. They all die, and Aquaman's stranded, and then he has a fever dream, and he sees his dad. That's basically the issue.
Wow. Okay, so that's not exactly, but still, I think I deserve a check, Jeff Johns.
No,
Like $5. You know, a
but
free issue.
he is like so far out of his element that like I mean, oh my gosh, he's like. And I don't even know if we've ever even gotten an issue where Aquaman was like in the middle of a desert.
Never?
Like, I don't think ever. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Aquaman fan, so it's possible to happen.
I know nothing about this, but Aquaman has never been in the desert.
Well, in the time that I've been reading Aquaman, he's not been in the desert, and that would be issue 5 for the
none
record.
of the 5 issues that Chris Triplette has read has he ever been in a desert. So there you go. Words of authority.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I still think I deserve a free issue, but whatever. Moving on. And then I think lastly we'll mention Justice League, just because it did come out this week. It is late, as we had mentioned previously. This is the first issue of a New 52 title to be delayed, and it's delayed 1 week, so it's not the end of the world.
It's not that late. I mean, it's like I didn't even notice that it was late.
Yeah,
it's like McFeely had to like say, "Oh, this book fell behind" or something, because I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were all like begging for it. I don't know. Some interesting things happen. It looks like Superman's been abducted now. Batman's going to go after him. Hal's going to try to lead the remainders of the non-league league. So,
well, we got like the league is basically kind of coming together now. I mean, because like they've just all sort of like kind of been thrown in this situation, and in this issue we've got like Hal trying to bring them together and lead them to go and I guess fight Darkseid or rescue Superman. But like the big thing I liked about it was the whole thing with Batman.
Yeah, it was a little odd though too. It was kind of like, is he really gonna? Oh, he did. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was gonna do. Like, so he was like, so basically what happens in the issues, he's like, the league's just gotten the crap kicked out of him by Darkseid, and Green Lantern's arm's broken, and Batman's trying to talk him out of doing something stupid, like just running in and going after Darkseid. He's, they got to put together a plan, and then like Batman's like, hey, I trust you enough. He takes his mask off and he reveals his identity. He says, "My name is Bruce Wayne," and like the best comment ever. Who the hell's Bruce Wayne?
I was like, I have no idea who you are. Which does seem a little odd. I mean, you'd think, you might have at least heard of Bruce Wayne, but I guess not. So whatever.
Well, this is early on, so I guess it's before, Bruce has made a name for himself. I mean, like, he's the kid that, inherited the fortune, and maybe he hasn't been back that long.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like just been back a little while. He's big enough that he's hot shot in Gotham, but we're not in Gotham, I guess.
Right.
I'm Hal Jordan. I'm a space cop. Who are you, basically?
Right. Yeah. So,
but yeah, kind of interesting. So establishing that these characters are gonna know who. I mean, we knew that because we'd already known that from like the present day books, but it's kind of interesting to see how it's played out in this issue. And Batman doing his own Batman thing, getting captured by one of the bad guys, and going to save Superman.
Yeah, of which I think he's in. You go back to like an Ender comment from ages ago, where he's a dude in a bat suit, and now he's found himself in the middle of apocalypse.
And see, this is good because this will be like how we define why Batman is Batman, because he's going to go to Apocalypse. He's going to rescue Superman and do some amazing shit.
Yeah, he's totally going to save the day there. It's just a question of. It's not a question of if. It's a question of how.
It's a question of how.
So that's going to be That's going to be really interesting to see. So I like Justice League. I still don't like the $4 price point, but I know the backups. The Curse of Shazam, is that starting next month or the month after? I think it's starting soon. We should be starting to get the backups that are actually going to be in that issue. So then it'll feel like it's worth
I would
$4.
much rather have backups than Sketchbook.
Yeah, the Sketchbook stuff is kind of like, I don't care. Yes, Jim Lee, we're very proud of you. We're very proud of your drawing.
When I got this issue, I was like, oh, wow, turning the page, oh, Batman's going to be in Apocalypse. Where are they going next? And then, oh, to be continued. But there's more pages left. But, sketch.
Art.
Damn it.
Yay.
Crap. Yeah. So, no, I would like more story.
Yeah, more story. Or at least even like another story. And that's why I said that. I think the Curse of Shazam, a lot of people have been wanting Shazam back. So, there you go. You're going to get Captain Marvel. So, anyway. Cool. Awesome. So, we'll call that the semi-news segment. But really, it's just a wrap-up of other things that probably would have been reviewed had we have all been on the show. But alas, we were not. So, what we are going to talk about is Marvel stuff, and in particular, Fantastic Four-ish stuff. So, Fantastic Four and FF. So, have they completely, I don't know this for a fact, have they completely split off FF? FF is going to be an ongoing thing on its own. I thought it was ending.
It seems like it because like FF is up to 14, and I mean,
so do we need to call on internet? Do we need to call shenanigans then on this being 602? Because the thing is that FF was like carrying the torch for Fantastic Four, and now they've sort of started Fantastic Four at 600 by carrying on the FF numbering. But FF is still going on.
I can't get my numbering right now. So if I need to put these in a comic book box, I have no clue how to put these in a comic book box.
Marvel has totally screwed up our numbering, okay? I have no idea how to organize these. It's going to go from like 588
So is like 602, is it like 602 and then like FF14 is actually 602.1? Is that the number?
No, I think it should be this should be FF4 or FF2, right? This should be FF2 and Fantastic.
No, they came out in the same week. So like this is like Fantastic Four 602 and FF is Fantastic Four 602.1.
2.1. I don't know. They've messed it all up. You messed it up, Marvel. Anyway, Hickman's happy. He's getting work. So, let's talk about these. I think, now, these stories happen almost simultaneously. So it's really hard, I think, to distinguish one from the other. I think from an impact standpoint, if you've not read these yet, and you do want to read them, I think from an impact standpoint, we're totally going to spoil it for you, by the way. It's best to read it in Fantastic Four and then FF, because FF pretty much FF is more time travel, so they pretty much tell you what's going to happen, and then it happens anyway. So, whereas Fantastic Four itself is much more linear. So we're going to start there anyway.
Yeah, that's the way I read them, and it made sense to me. So yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. So let's see. This issue, to encapsulate the issue, the big problem that we had last time is all this space junk is falling to the Earth. And that's causing a huge problem because it's actually, it's just like if a lot of meteors were falling on the Earth. It's starting to...
Dude, it's just like that movie Armageddon.
It's a lot like that movie Armageddon. In fact, it's almost exactly like... This is basically the plot of Armageddon.
Just imagine Charlton Heston is narrating this comic, and you've got basically Armageddon.
Yeah, Charlton Heston is narrating. Imagine that Bruce Willis is playing Reed Richards, and
actually, I think Bruce Willis is in one of them spacesuits on that first page, flying in to fight him.
Probably.
No, wait, that's the Kree. He
that's
wouldn't
the
be
Kree.
on
He wouldn't be a Kree.
Side. No, he wouldn't be doing that.
No, he's Reed, and I'm just going to go with that. And you've got Ben Affleck as Johnny. And Michael Clark Duncan as
the Nihilus.
As a Nihilus. That would be. So anyway, this would be Fantastic Four as Armageddon, written by Chris Triplette and J.D. Church. That's how we roll. So
Directed by Michael Bay because nobody else could do it.
directed by that would be the capper. Oh my God! There's so many explosions. It just I don't know why Ben just blew up all of a sudden. He just anyway. So in a desperate attempt to save us, Reed and Sue decide to use a thing that they don't tell us what it is.
I don't know what that is. At first, reading through it, I was thinking, is it the the negatives? What is that thing called? The rod, the the nihilist rod. What is it called?
Yeah, the whatever, that control rod or whatever.
Yeah, the control rod. At first, I thought maybe it's that, but no, Johnny still got it.
Yeah, Johnny still got it.
Yeah.
So the Kree are really set on destroying the Inhumans. That's basically their main goal. But anyway, Sue and Reed decide that they're going to use this thing that we should have remembered what it was, but we didn't remember.
Yeah.
And
knowing Jonathan Hickman, it's like something like the next issue we're going to get a flashback sequence.
We already know. I remember it now. Like when it happened, I was like, oh yeah, because remember there was the whole issue with it where he gave him to him and told him like his. That there was a big bad thing coming and to only use it. It was a few issues back. It did.
Oh, so like it was something that Galactus gave him.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. I remember the
Yes.
issue where they met with Galactus, but I forgot that he gave them something.
Yes. So no.
Okay, that makes sense.
So anyway, so they summon it and everybody freaks out because it's Galactus.
That was cool though, because like Reed's talking about how, should we really use this? Maybe there's another solution.
And it's like, no, this is pretty much it.
And then they use it, and then like like you said, everybody's freaking out. And it's like, oh, there's a hole in the heavens. And like Annihilus is like, yes, dead.
He's awesome. But so they summon Galactus, and they're like, all right. We summoned you. It's time to do the whatever it is. And he's like, no, it's almost, but this isn't quite it. And
this is something different. I have consumed 4 worlds in anticipation of something greater, and they have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's
so they're like, this is pretty bad though, yo. So he like whatever waves his hand, destroys like the whole Kree armada.
That was awesome.
Like one wave of his hand. And the Kree though, the main ship, they're still trying to destroy the Inhumans, even standing up against Galactus. They're like, can we still take out the Inhumans? Like right before we go. Like we're gonna get out of here, but we really want to get them before we go. So then massive energy fluctuation, and then if everybody didn't have like a shit their pants look on their face before, imagine the Supremor having a what the fuck look on his face, because there it is.
It's even better that he's got like 4 eyes.
I know. He's just like and everybody is shocked because what is it? The Celestials. Holy balls. It's the Celestials. This is bad. Like totally frying pan to fire, like bad. You went from having like a regular person, intergalactic conflict to having a god, like, gods fighting right on the doorstep of Earth. Like this could not get much worse. There's
even a little bit of shock in like Galactus's face here, where he's like, "This is why I'm here." He says, "This is the death I have seen. I have been foreshadowed. Mad gods have come to destroy us all. Mad gods have come to destroy us all.
Mad gods, yes sir." So
it's Galactus saying that, not anybody else. It's pretty bad when Galactus is calling them mad gods.
Yeah. So you're like, how? What? Why? How did this happen? Well, let's find out. Because that's where, like I said, I think it sort of leads right into. That's it for Fantastic Four, by the way. So I think it leads right into FF in that way. But FF is sort of takes place simultaneously. And again, this story is much more focused on the kids, which have sort of become that context, I guess, of the future Foundation. These kids are the future. So this story is,
and that makes sense too, because the Fantastic Four is gonna be Reed, Johnny, Ben, and Sue. So Future Foundation, of course, it's gonna be Valeria and Franklin and the rest of them. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think so.
It works really well.
So let's see. One of the alternate Reeds and Doom are out trying to fight the Celestials off, because the last time we left them, the Celestials were trying to use the portal that Reed had used to make it to go to the Council of Reeds to come through the portal to here. And what is it? The one fired his fingers out and pried the
to keep it open, his fingers are sticking through it, and everybody's trying to move the fingers back through, but they can't budge them.
Yeah.
You got this shot of Dragon Man trying to move the fingers.
But that doesn't work, and so then the fingers end up I don't understand. Where does the hand come from? Did the hand break off? Did they cut it off with something else? I can't remember.
Maybe I can't remember. Maybe two hands went through. Maybe a hand went through, and then fingers went through, and they cut it off or something. I can't remember exactly.
Now.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a hand thing.
All you need to think about is that the hand is a transformer.
Yes, it is, because it turns into a little agent of the Celestials.
He's hand of God engaged.
Yeah, hand of God engaged. That's awesome. So we get a flashback in here where Valeria, yeah, I always say her name wrong. And Nathaniel have this sort of workspace where they're trying to, he knows that they're gonna basically come to this point in time, and they're gonna need time. They're gonna need to, there's certain events that have to happen. The Celestial thing has to happen. The the Kree and all of those things have to happen. The problem is they all happen on top of each other, and then there's no time to sort of lay the events out in such a way as to have success or to have a chance anyway. And so so he works with her to develop a plan, and that's where they come up, and it comes back around to that all hope lies in Doom, because they decide they need 27 minutes, and they decide
and that's so great though, because that's going back to, what was it, Avengers number 3 or 4, with Bendis's Avengers, where they went to the future, and you had the board that had all these events that are going to happen, in timeline, and then there's the one little section that says all hope lies in Doom.
Yep. And so they're coming back again, it's all hope lies in Doom. And so they're trying to space out the Celestials event from when Galactus arrives and everything, and talking about how to do that. And of course they decide that Doom is really the only way to do that, that he's the only one, first of all, crazy enough and tenacious enough to stand up against, stand toe-to-toe with the Celestial and to try to take them out, or even to hold them off or whatever. And so we come back to now.
It all comes down to they just need 27 minutes.
They just need 27 minutes.
Which is the name of the story, actually, 27 minutes. Because, that's the whole point of, what Valerie has been doing the whole time this series has been going on. She's, I guess, been planning...
Yeah, all of this.
To buy us 27 minutes. Because this goes back,
way
forever,
back.
Way back.
Yep. I mean, that is essentially it. The whole point of all of this has been to buy 27 minutes of time in this window. The window of time between the Kree Empire, arriving and trying to destroy everything, and when the Celestials actually make it through the portal. They can't make that not happen. That has to happen. But they can delay when it happens. I think Nathaniel referred to it as, pulling out or what did he say? We can.
He makes reference to, like, you know,
spread out the constants, find more time is what he said. So
yeah, because, like, you can't just, like, stop something from happening. Like, you know, these things have to happen, but, you know, if we can make it so they don't happen on top of each other, we have a way to survive this. Is what he's planning.
Yeah. So so we go back to the bridge on the other side of the portal where Doom and this Reed are fighting. And, yeah, the Reed pulls out the ultimate nullifier. And,
he's just like, I love that. Move aside, Doom. Watch as I end this.
Yeah. Yeah. Ego much? So they go back to the Council of Reeds, way, way back. And,
a lot of flashbacks. This issue's, like, loaded with flashbacks.
Well, because you need that to sort of set up, you know, how everything lays out. And you can see one of the Reeds giving this Reed the ultimate nullifier. And they're like, well, we can't use that. It, you know, it destroys the person that uses it. And they're like, oh, no, you have to be true of mind. You have to be, like, focused and blah, 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 yakety smackety. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. So this Reed uses that ultimate nullifier, roasts one of the Celestials, and then completely burns himself up and explodes. So take your head off, pour a little bit out as the final Reed bursts into flames. This is the final Reed, right? I think that was the last.
Yeah, because, like, one was killed, 2 got merged to become the new Supremor, right?
Yeah, and then this was the last one.
And this was the last one, I think, because there were 4, right? It started with 4, and then 1 died, and 2 were merged into the Supremor, and then there was this guy. Yep.
So I think that's it. So he burst into a fiery skeletal flame thing, so that was awesome.
Yeah. And it's, like, kind of, like, cartoony looking art, so it's even kind of more awesome.
Yeah, because it's like really wicked.
Because the artwork has got this kind of a weird style to it, but, like, even though it's got kind of this weird looking cartoony design to it, it still looks awesome and grotesque.
Yeah, it is it's kind of almost disturbing. It's very, like, not what you, like, again, expect out of the art style. So we go back to our side of the portal as the kids are desperately trying to fight this this sort of celestial avatar, I guess, if you will. And what is it? Kristoff is wanting to try to go back for Doom, and they're telling him they can't, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And Doom basically eggs him on. He's just like, whatever.
He's like egging on the Celestials, you know. Well, he's like, do your worst. It will not be enough.
So we get this final flashback in which it looks like it was earlier within this event, but Valera is talking to Doom, and she seems to tell him. I think she tells him that he's going to die.
Yeah. She says, I got something to tell you. And he says, even though it could make you change your mind, I want you to know the truth. We tricked you. I tricked you. I made everything seem like a fair trade, but I knew talking about, going way, way back when, she visited Doom and, like, would help Doom with his intelligence thing, that's, I mean, like we said, everything has been building for what, like 2 or 3 years on this.
I mean, all of those events, I mean, going all the way back have been leading to this.
And she says, I made everything seem like a fair trade, but I knew all along that it led to this. You buying us time. You sacrificing yourself. I'm sorry, Uncle Doom. I've been a very bad girl. and he says, some of us like you that way. We'll buy you the time you need. So he doesn't, like, falter. He's going, even though he's Doom and he thinks, oh, well, I'm Doom. Who's going to be able to step against me? He still doesn't, flinch when she says, oh, you're going to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. She tells him something else, though.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's got this look on his face that, kind of a weird look on his face. And he says, foolish child, you are worried. You think this could be the end of me. And she's like, yes. And he says, do not worry, Valeria. I will not die. I know it. I am Doom.
Destroyer of worlds. I love that.
What gods dare stand against me?
Oh, awesome. Love him. So he does. He stands up against them, and he even he has this moment of, like, a very. yeah, almost like a Christ-like moment in a sense here, where it's like, am I a foolish, prideful man? Perhaps this is the day I pay too high a price for it. So it's almost like that moment of doubt, like why me? But it's very interesting. And he's like, no, I am doom. It's awesome.
The damned, do your
damned,
worst.
do
I will
your
remain
worst.
unmoved.
Yeah, and so they start to light him up, and that's when we cut away. So it's another one of those like
You don't know if he's
Johnny
dead or not.
moments, yeah, where it's
Yeah.
like, is he dead? Is he not? Because the next thing that
I mean, he's going up against 3 Celestials, so we gotta assume they killed him. But then again, he's Doctor Doom, for God's sakes. Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah, because then the next thing is like you see the Celestial like put his hands through and start to push his foot through the portal as the building breaks apart, and we basically end on the same note where the last one. We see the 4 Celestials, and then they portal away into space, assuming where they're going to face Galactus.
Yeah.
And
this would look like it would be something bad. It seems like, oh God, they must have failed or something because like they got through. They just the Baxter Building crumbled to pieces. But no, you got this little moment at the end, and Val says, 28 minutes, we did it. We bought enough time.
all of that stuff for 28 minutes. The entire series, everything Blair has ever done, was for that 28 minutes.
Yeah.
That was it.
And you get Nathaniel saying, "Now we play for everything," and that's how it ends.
Power
Good. It was
Pack.
a great issue. These 2
Yeah.
issues were the best issues I read this week.
Oh,
I mean,
hands down, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, far and away. So, and then there's the teasing back here. Fantastic Four, 603 comes out on my birthday. Ha. And then FF15, which will be out the next week, so they will not be same week next week. It looks like Power Pack is going to be showing up.
making a return. Yeah.
So
Well, one of them's on the Feature Foundation, isn't it? I don't remember his name.
the
which
older
one.
the boy. Yeah, the older
Yeah.
boy. And the girl is on. She's on.
It's Avengers Academy.
Yeah, Avengers Academy now. So I don't know what the 2 younger kids are doing, but there you go. So yeah, awesome stuff. I mean, it's really. I cannot stress enough how much you need to read the entire Hickman run. I think most of it is on Comixology now too. I
Yeah,
was looking at
they
it.
had a sale a couple weeks back, I think, which had everything that had been published up to that point, 99 cents an issue. So like, I already had them, so I didn't get it. But for people that didn't get them, that
Yeah.
was a very good sale that day.
Yeah, I mean, and so hands down, I mean, this is high stuff. This is good stuff. I mean, this is Hickman's run on Fantastic Four. Trust me, before I started reading this run, I could not give 2 shits about Fantastic Four. Right? It just was not something I cared about at all. And this has just had a really interesting line. You need to pick up the trades. You need to go back to the beginning, come forward, and get caught up with this, because this is just good stuff.
It's one of the best books Marvel's putting out. I mean, that's easy to say that. I mean, because like last week I said like my 2 favorite books I'm getting right now is Amazing Spider-Man and Daredevil, and I don't know where FF and Fantastic Four falls in there, but they fall definitely somewhere in my top 10.
Yeah.
Which says a lot because I get a lot of books. I get too many books.
I know. So new pull list came out at my shop this week, and I was like, okay, I've got 17 titles a month. That's just too many, so I'm going to cut this. Okay. And then I did want to pick up that, and I want to pick up this one. Oh, I want to start that one, too. And by the time I was done, I had like 18 titles. So somehow I netted one more than...
You didn't cut books. You added a book.
I added books. I was like, crap. What the hell? There's too much good stuff. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, you really, like I said, if you have any peripheral interest, especially in anything kind of space drama, time travel, that kind of stuff, Fantastic Four, FF, I mean, it's really good stuff. And like I said, I would love to tell you, no, you just start right here. It's just good, because it's things are like that. Like Spider-Man is like that. You can just pick up Amazing Spider-Man.
You picked the last issue of a Spidey up, and that's a great jumping on point. You didn't have to know really anything.
No. So Spider-Man is where you can do that. Sorry, you got to do some research. You're gonna need to go back
because
start
like
at the
we've
beginning.
read it, and we had to think
Yeah,
about some of this stuff. It's like, when did they get that? And I don't remember when this happened. And what's the hell down here? Yeah,
yeah,
you need to go back.
yeah. You really need to go back. Start at the beginning of Hickman's run on Fantastic Four and read it all because it's worth it. It's good stuff.
It's not a bad thing that you have to do. I mean, that just means that the story is so grand. It's so good that you're going to want to. I mean,
Right.
we're not saying like, that's a problem with the newest issue. It works. If you read them, you know where you're at, and you can't wait for the next issue.
Right.
It does such a good job.
Which is where I'm at. But the next issue, Celestials. It's gonna be crazy. So anyway,
I
good
wonder
stuff.
if that's going to have to do with like the stuff with X-Men, because like there was a Celestial back in Uncanny X-Men. I wonder if this is like the lead-in to X-Men versus Avengers, and we just don't know it.
It could be. I don't know. There's
Because
gonna.
the Celestials in San Francisco, the Uncanny X-Men had to like defeat Mr. Sinister and save a Celestial's life. It was a pretty good issue because the other Celestials showed up, like our Celestials, not the alternate universe Celestials.
Not these evil mad Celestials.
Not the Mad Gods, no, like our Celestials. And some shit was gonna start up, and basically the X-Men stared down the Celestials, and it ended with the X-Men being like, yeah. Did the Avengers ever have to do that? It was kind of a badass moment.
Oh, nice.
I wonder, like, the Celestials that are popping up, is this going to have something to do with X-Men versus Avengers? Because they're, like, popping up everywhere.
I don't know. And that is a good question. And we haven't seen. When was the last issue of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we saw? Because I wondered if, how much, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to come into that. Because that's Hickman written. Hickman wrote that as well. So, yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I hate to say it, but I would assume that our thinking is far more in-depth and laid out than anything that Bendis and crew have come up with. I'm sure it's just going to be like, it'd be great if they just fight.
like what's going to happen is, like, Wolverine's going to be like, yeah, I'm quitting the Avengers, and, like, Cap's going to be like, the hell you're not. It's going to be a fight to get Wolverine on their team.
So it'll just be a fight. It'll have probably. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's probably gonna have a worse lead-in than most like fighting video games. It'll probably have a weaker story context than like DC versus Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
So,
it's all Shang Tsung's fault. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I know. That's just. It's just odds. I'm just gonna go with the odds, but we'll see. I hope that story's gonna be great, but. We'll see. We'll be talking about it here. So there you go. That's pretty much going to be our show for the week because that's what we got.
Yeah.
But
we had some good stuff. So yeah, we got some good stuff out there at least. I think.
Oh yeah. No. I think we talked about the best stuff. I mean, the sad thing is we just don't talk about a lot of other other party stuff. I will say, though, that now that I've had my Kindle Fire a little while, it's kind of a segue. It is kind of cool. And one thing that's really great about it, I think, and I think that's an opportunity, that's an untapped opportunity for maybe some creators, is that there are so many free comics out there that I think can be...
I was picking up a bunch the other day on my Kindle, too, yeah.
Well, like, a perfect example is, we talked to Troy Hickman, a year or two ago, back when... Twilight Guardian was on their pilot season story. It was one of the pilot season's winners, and it had 4 issues. And the first issue is on there for free. So,
cool.
Highly recommend you go check that out. You can get the first issue of Twilight Guardian. If you like it, the other issues are on there too. So it's a great lead-in. You can pick up the other issues.
And it's really cool to look through that list and see like all the free stuff. And there's some good stuff. I mean, there's some stuff I actually have bought that's good stuff to try. Like Walking Dead #1's in there. Like if you wanted to find out what's going on with Walking Dead, it's not just like independent books. It's some big name stuff like Walking Dead. I'm just kind of surprised that more companies aren't doing this. Like Marvel and DC's not real big into like the free issues. It's a lot of IDW and some other stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the opportunity, though, is that the smaller retailers have an opportunity to give you a tease of some of the things you can see. If you're going to read Batman or Superman or whatever, you know what that is. There's no,
Yeah.
pretense for that. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, whatever. But for some of those titles that come out of like IDW or Dynamite or other Top Cow, Image, some of those things, you're not necessarily sure what you're going to get, especially if it's a character you haven't heard of. So it's great to have those free issues out there because you can pick them up. So you don't have to just use like a Kindle Fire to read those. Kindle Fire is great, but a lot of smartphones, I know that Comixology has an app on most smartphones, Android and iPhones as well.
And the web too, like
And
you
the
can
web.
use your internet browser just to,
Yeah.
because before I bought any issues, I was reading the free issues just to test it out.
Yeah.
I was like looking at stuff like Walking Dead, and I was like, wow, okay, this works. Maybe I should do this.
Yeah, and it's actually a really good reader. I mean, I think it works pretty well. So, so check that out. If not for anything, I'd recommended reading Troy Hickman's Twilight Guardian, and so check that out. Like I said, it's free. You can get the first issue for free off of Comixology, and if you like it, buy the other issues because it's a good little storyline. It's a good little run. So. But otherwise, let's see. I do want to mention our other shows. Of course, we're part of the TF Radio Network. We've got 2 things coming up within the next couple of months. The first one being Toy Fair, which is in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
It's soon.
Yeah,
I don't know when. But it's soon.
Not very long from now. So we are going to be broadcasting live on that day. It's sort of our annual Super Bowl thing because the crossover for a lot of our stuff is toys. So
I'm really interested in this year's Toy Fair too because, like, have you been following like the drama that's been going on with the Prime toys?
Yeah, the Prime stuff is, man, what a series of events that is.
What is going on? Oh my God! And that's why I'm interested. I want to know what are they even showing? Like, what's going on this year?
Yeah, because the latest thing that I heard this week was that a lot of the distributors had been notified by Hasbro that the first edition of Transformers Prime has now been canceled. So no more, Transformers Prime is going to be received. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't show up in your local Ross, TJ Maxx,
That's what I'm hoping for. I don't have a cliff jumper, and I need a cliff jumper pretty damn bad.
So I'm hopeful now because I got to send you that toy, by the way. So that's where I'm hopeful that we'll see some of those first edition Prime figures show up in some of those areas. But then the other thing is that the Brits have already gotten the robots in disguise packaging for Transformers Prime, whatever, as much sense as that makes. So, but some of the molds are different. The paint apps are different.
I think all of the molds are different, aren't they?
Yeah, there's some really different
because
stuff.
I was like looking at it and I didn't know this, and I was like
Yeah.
thinking, if I don't get the first edition cliff jumper, I'll be okay. But then it's a totally different cliff jumper.
Yeah, it's a
that's
totally
in,
different
like-
one, so it's really weird. So it's
weird
definitely going to
about
be interesting. An interesting toy fair. This is going to be our first look at some of the Prime figures that are going to be coming up for the next year. So so definitely tune in for that. tfradio.net/live on the day of Toy Fair, which I really want to say is the 11th, I believe. So it's not this coming weekend, but the next. So Saturday, and we'll be broadcasting live. Peter should be there, so we'll get remotes and stuff from Peter. And of course our crew will be broadcasting live. I think Rob Clay will be there. Are you going to be there? Are you going to sit in with us? We're not
I
sure.
think it did maybe a little last year.
Maybe
I can't
sit
remember.
in a little bit with us. So.
Yeah.
So we should have a good crew together for that. So check that out. New Soundwave, like we said before, is new, so they've got a whole new look. So check that out. And I am going to be on Superhero Time. Their 100th episode is coming up, and
Wow.
that is going to be on, I believe it's the 20th. I think that's going to be is the day to record that. So they'll be out on the 21st, somewhere around there. So keep tuned in for that. So I'll be on Superhero Time. That's good stuff as well. I've been watching like the Gokaiger series, which is the Japanese equivalent. So if you have any peripheral interest in Power Rangers and want to see something better than that, check out the Japanese version, which is the original.
It's like all on Netflix, and I have tempted myself to watch some of it. Like, I dipped into like the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and watched just a little bit of it. I was like, do I really want to go down this path?
I tell you,
and then I was
for a
like,
while,
remove from queue.
Remove from queue. There for a while, when I was down and sick for a while, and had nothing to do but watch television, I started at where did I start at? Zeo, I think. I think I started with Zeo, and or maybe it was Alien Rangers, I guess, and came forward from there. And I went through Zeo. I went through the Alien Rangers, Zeo, Turbo, Power Rangers in Space, and then started Galaxy, and I think that's where I ended off. But I've become more interested in the Super Sentai series since then. So that's interesting stuff. But especially this for the Super Sentai, it's the 35th anniversary year, so they've had like this really big event stuff this year. It's really cool. It's all pirate themed, so it's kind of interesting, but kind of good. So anyway, check that out as well. So there you go. There's a broad swath of some of the shows that we have on the TF Radio Network. So it's not just this show and Radio Free Cybertron, of course, which is the flagship show. So, somewhere in there it surely is something that you're interested in as well. So check those out. If you don't, or if you haven't, if you've thought about it, there you go. More things to look at. So anyway, we are going to get out of here. Next week, hopefully we'll have a full crew once again. But I think we held up pretty well, sir.
I think we did all right.
I think we did. I think we held it off for more than 28 minutes.
I think we should thank Jonathan Hickman, because without him, we probably wouldn't have had anything to talk about.
I know. we definitely held off for more than 28 minutes in this episode, for sure. So good times there. All right. Well, Chris, thanks for coming in, and everybody, thanks for tuning in, and tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.